Hello, everybody.
Hello, Harriet.
Hi, Harriet.
Hi. How is everybody this Friday morning, afternoon, depending on where you're from?
We're fine.
We're fine. You're very welcome, everybody, to this virtual launch by Digital Women. They're launching their amazing reports on protection of women and girls online. And we want to welcome you all in this virtual space. Please continue sending the link, share with everybody that you know should be part of this space. And then we can have everybody in the space joining us. So we'll run through quickly and do a round of introduction. Briefly, really, you just tell us who you are and what is that one thing that made you click that link when you saw that call. So my name is Harriet Adong, and I'm going to be the moderator for this session. And I'm here because when I saw this link, I was so excited to just know more about what is happening in Uganda and globally, given the fact that we're transitioning in the world of digital space. So just give us that one thing that made you click that link. So I will start with Ruth Atim.
Oh, oh, okay. So, what made me click the link? I am passionate about the digital literacy space. Yeah.
So your
And
passion made you
yes,
click.
it's my the passion that drove me to learn more about what Digital Woman is doing. I've been following them on Twitter, so it's a nice space really to learn and relearn from other people.
And where are you joining us from?
I'm in Kampala.
You're in Kampala. Okay, welcome, Ruth. I will take the ball to Gerald. Werike.
Yes, good afternoon, Harriet and everybody. I'm really glad to be here. And maybe I will say that what interested me in this is that I work with a colleague called Kiza Ronald, and to be his boss, as one of his bosses at the organization at the Africa Leadership Institute. So when I saw him promoting digital women, I asked him that you're not a woman. So what are you doing in digital women? And being a father of girls, interest, and he really urged me to attend and know what's happening with digital women. Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Yes. And this is the right space to be because it's all about the girls and the women that are within our vicinity, our spaces and relations. Thank you and welcome, Gerald. I will take this to Eva.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Eva.
The button when I saw a woman and the digital technology and being one in the digital space. So we have always had a 20-80. So we always have 20% women and 80 in the department. So I wanted to know how I would also help fellow women.
And where are you joining us from?
Remember Eva, Uganda Matters University?
Okay, from the university. You're very welcome. I will throw the ball to Brenda Nasanga.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Brenda.
Yeah,
Why did you click that link when you saw this?
I work with an organization that one of the focus areas is access to information. And this covers digital rights and the crimes and the prevention and how the various people, the various vulnerable groups like the women, the children, the girls, and the youth and the elderly can also be involved. So I was interested in knowledge sharing and engagement and learning more from you.
Okay,
Yes.
you're here to learn from Digital Woman Uganda.
Yes, I work with Afik.
You work with?
Afik.
Afik. Okay,
Yes.
you're very welcome to this space. I'll share again with Janet Lisa. Janet Lisa, why did you click this button? the link.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa, and I work with Her Internet. And Her Internet is an organization that advocates for digital rights for minority women and female sex workers. And I was interested in getting to know more about what the kind of work that you do. And I know you've been following our recent campaign. So I was looking forward to also getting to know more and learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome, Lisa. We're happy to have you here. Who else would I like to throw the ball to? Rafelix or Queer? Why did you click this link and where are you joining us from? Yes, please.
Thanks. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. I'm Reflex Queer. I work with Alliance for Youth Education, an organization based in Northern Uganda, specifically Lira. We deal with youth and children, and mainly in the area of education. As we are aware, again, Uganda is in the second lockdown. So I'm very grateful to join each of us who are here. Then I'm going to learn about you and as well currently institution affected by education institution. So as a Alliance for Youth, thinking how we can engage our children in learning the youth tools. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Raphael. We missed a lot of your intro. Please, we would request you to just type in the chat box so we get to know more about you. Yes, education is a very critical issue right now, given the fact that everybody's running to the internet and everybody's using the internet to access information for education, for classes. So you're in the right space, and Digital Woman Uganda is really going to help you understand how you can protect the children that you work with on the internet. I also throw the ball to Christine Awar. Christine? If Christine is not ready, could we have Patricia?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Patricia.
Thank you. I have just joined into the conversation. I'm sorry, I'm quite late. I would request for a brief on what is going on. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome, Patricia. So we're just having a quick introduction as we wait for other participants to join in a few minutes, then we'll start off. Just tell us who you are, where you're joining us from, and what made you click that link to join this conversation.
Okay, my name is Patricia Lani. I work with 94.3 QFM Lira in Lango sub-region as a broadcaster and a news anchor. I work on the mid-morning show from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. What made me click the link is we have a WhatsApp group as Lango Women in Media, and the chairperson of the group shared the link with us just yesterday evening, and yes, I found it attractive and quite motivational for me as a woman in media to be a part of this brilliant idea.
Thank you. You're very welcome, Patricia, to the space, and we gladly welcome you on behalf of Digital Woman Uganda. Could we have a male voice say something? Is there a male here who would like to share? Kasozi Abdul Wahab. Hello? Okay, Kasozi doesn't seem to be on. Colin Kanpara.
Okay, I'm here.
Please tell us who you are, where you're joining us from, and what made you click that link.
I'm Kasoz Abdul Wahab, and I'm joining in from Zambia. So I'm joining this meeting because I'm also a leader and an activist, a student leader at the university. And I've been doing this for over, so I got a chance, someone recommended to me to this link so that I can be part of this. It will be hopeful for me. That's all why I'm here.
You're very welcome, Abdul Wahab. Anyone else who would like to say something? If you're not able to connect with your internet, it's okay. You can just type into our chat box and then we get to know who you are. We're already 20 minutes into our session, so I'll go right ahead. In the meantime, I want to say welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are, wherever you're watching us, wherever you're listening in from. Those who can have their cameras on, we also welcome you to have them on so we're able to see your faces. But if you're not able to have your camera on, it's okay. We can still have this conversation running. My name again is Harriet Adong, and I am a founder for Athena Girls Innovation Compound based in Lira. And today I am I'm working on behalf of Digital Woman Uganda, and we're excited to have you all in the space. At this moment in time, I would like to call or to invite Pino to take us through and give us an understanding of what Digital Woman Uganda is and what they're doing. That's one thing that somebody shared they would like to know. So this would be the time for you to come and share with us. In the meantime, as it's preparing, we request that you mute yourselves so we don't have the feedback. You can only unmute if you want to say something or raise your hand, and then we can share, or you can continue typing into the chat room, and then we'll be able to get everything from there. You're very welcome once again, and we're looking forward to an amazing conversation.
Thank you, Harriet, and everyone that has joined into this conversation. I will just basically maybe try to talk more about the startup later on after I share this video, and then I can answer a few questions like the ones that came from Gerard Werike. So I will ask my friend, my colleague Ronnie, to kindly share the video. I will come in later on. Thank you.
Efforts to improve digital rights and digital literacy among more women in Africa should be supported by a thorough understanding of the online and offline social structure that influence the extent to which women can be active participants in the digital space. This is key to realizing Goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which aims to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls who have historically been in a position of disadvantage for various reasons, including cultural norms, lack of economic opportunity, and low literacy.
My name is Ivan Pino. I'm a co-founder of Digital Woman Uganda, which is a civic tech startup that leverages basically mobile technologies to offer advisory services around digital rights. Internet access and connectivity is basically now more important than ever since COVID-19 struck us. It has completely redefined how we communicate and do business. as a gateway to critical information and services and opportunities available to many for the first time and across the continent, and mobile being the primary way of most people to access the internet.
I love internet, but I have some problem with the internet. One, I don't have money to buy the smartphone, but I want to use smartphone, but I have no money to buy it.
Ani Nyawere Evelyn au Potela, Tororo District. Teko mawanti gie ngerma oro internet ki pesa manyeo gima oro internet. Nyume na teko wakwaya no kwanyi wanu funji wengerma oro ginyeo wan tuwa oro.
Despite its importance, internet access and use remains unequal in Uganda, especially in the rural areas. Until it's inclusive for all, so that all can enjoy its full benefit, I'm afraid the internet has a magnifier for equality will still remain a myth.
Ronnie, thanks for that brief introduction. So I'll just share just my video for a few seconds for those who've never met me to see. Okay, so that's me. I'm Ivan Pino, and then with Goretti Amriat, we decided to co-found a startup known as Digital Woman Uganda. So our experience is nested around around the different projects that we used to work on with her for the past, I think now 5 years I've worked with Goretti. But then we realized that there was a gap that was not being closed. And then we thought that the two of us can go out there and actually do something about it. With or without money, we started this journey. I remember we had a tree next to a garage where Goretti was actually repairing her car. So that's how the whole idea came about starting up what we call Digital Woman Uganda. It was basically a digital nest to basically have more women, especially those in the rural areas, more inclusive in these spaces, because we believed that there is need for more women inclusive so that they can also contribute to these spaces. So in a nutshell, we are a Civitech and a digital rights advocacy startup, which is and we operate as an organization. And our work span around digital literacy because without it, and given the current new normal, so many people are being left out, especially those in the rural areas. So we are trying to skill these people. We've built so many tools around that. We've come up with what is known as an online radio, and around it, it's quite a wide model, but around it in a nutshell, it has what we call a village agent model, because we deal with rural people who have no access to internet, or if at all they would want to have access to internet, the space is expensive, given that the gadgets are expensive, the internet itself is expensive. They do not even know how to use these gadgets, but all they were given these gadgets. So we do a lot of digital literacy for these women and the girls. So that is one area that we tackle. The other one is into digital advocacy with different organizations and different research papers that we do. And then we contribute to policy making in this country. So we work with different policy makers to see to it that some of these voices from the grassroots are actually heard. So that is the reason we came up with our research paper. Later on in the coming days, we should be releasing this policy brief, which will kickstart another conversation. So we are trying to involve the media houses because we believe that these are best channels of content dissemination or policy dissemination briefs that come about with. So we want to engage the media houses to see how much we can actually do more advocacy away from what we've been doing. Yes, we also have different channels. That's why on this call, we had to bring influencers so that they can also help in pushing the advocacy out there. But we thought that why shouldn't we involve the main media houses also? We should borrow and live with them. How can we work with you guys to actually advance the works that we're actually doing? So basically, that is a little brief about who we are. And to go back to maybe Mr. Werike's question, I think he was teaching his colleague. It's a woman that has a bias, basically. We are trying to build a startup, but we want it to be owned by the women themselves. That's why you're seeing that on my team, we're only 3 guys, and the rest are only female. So we are trying to see that they can come on board and push this organization to the next level by themselves, because we believe that maybe they are at a better spot of understanding their own problems as to why they cannot get online. And then maybe the men, we actually come in more into when it comes to the technical bit of the organization. We are because when you look at the careers that are supporting digital women, given that it's a CVTech, not so many women are in this space. So the few men that are in digital women in Uganda, you find that they've got a big background in IT. But again, this does not stop us from looking out for those women that actually are in these spaces. When you look at the report that we did, I had to look out for a graphic designer who's female, even the policy brief, even the person that is going to maybe do a blog about all these webinars. I had to look out for a woman because we need to promote these women to that level of these spaces so that they can also compete with the men. And then later on, they can own this space and learn how to be safe in these online spaces. So basically, that's a little bit of what we do. And I'm looking forward to more insights about the sessions ahead here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pino, for that. I also want to pass on to request, if you are not speaking, please mute yourself so we're not, so that we don't receive the feedback from our various gadgets. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pino. In the meantime, as we take on our next session, would like to call Martha to delve us through the research and the findings that were conducted and found in the research that Digital Woman Uganda conducted. So Dr. Martha is a researcher, and she's a strong women activist and a human rights activist. And please take on your time and share with us the report of the research that was conducted by Digital Woman on women and girls protection online. You're welcome, Dr. Martha. As Dr. Martha is preparing her screen, if you have any questions for Pino about Digital Woman Uganda, please, you can write them in our chat room, or you can just prepare them, and then we shall have our Q&A session where you'll be able to ask your questions.
Can you be able to see my screen?
Yes, Doctor, we can see it.
Distinguished participants, the media, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends of Digital Woman, I am pleased to welcome you to the webinar on the review of cyber policies protecting women and children. The aim of this webinar is to share the findings of our findings of the research, policy gaps and recommendations, as well as develop appropriate tools to raise awareness. We also want to have an effective advocacy scheme for policy makers and law enforcers to tackle the identified issues. We understand that in this world that has transformed, internet more frequently, and more so doing because of the COVID-19 pandemic, internet usage has actually increased. So users have now experienced an increase in rights violations and have been intimidated. Women and children have experienced these types of violations through various platforms like the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, FaceTime, through our different mobile apps, even through games. Through these platforms, women and children's rights are violated through the dissemination of private data, unsolicited pornography, which includes the sharing of sexual images, video and audio clips, photographs, cyberbullying, and many others. And it affects their self-esteem eventually. How can we help these women and children be protected from such violence while accessing the internet? We know that protective measures have been enacted by countries worldwide, and laws that are still, and as well as policies, have been recognized to protect women and children, but they are not specific to online violence. An example is the 2013 UN General Assembly, which resolved that people have a right to privacy. We also have the 2016 UN Human Rights Council, which affirmed the promotion and protection of enjoyment of human rights on the internet. We have the 2030 UN Agenda. It calls for gender equality. And we have the CEDAW, which is abbreviated as the Committee on the. It was adopted in 2017, and it affirms the commitment to a world free from violence against women and girls. We also continue with the CEDAW. It concentrates more on women issues related to sexual slavery, rape, torture, things like female genital mutilation. We have the UN Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women. It was adopted in 1993, and it looks at women in 3 dimensions. The first dimension is violence by the state. What does this mean? Women are put into as part of warfare. The second dimension is violence within the community, which is rape, sexual harassment, and the third dimension is violence in the family, which includes incest and selective abortions. Article 16 of the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child also ensures that children are protected from all forms of torture and inhumane treatment. We shall see that a number of policies are known to even exist in Uganda, but it is still not known to what extent they protect victims. And in this case, our concentration is women and girls, or women and children online. The 1995 Constitution of Uganda has articles 19, 21, and 33, which provide the right to access to internet. It also allows equal opportunities for women. We also have the Computer Misuse Act, which provides safety of information systems and prevents unlawful access. We have the 2016 Children's Act, which highlights child protection online and concentrates on only exposing activities of sexual nature. We also have in Uganda the Penal Code Act, which highlights the protection of human dignity, where insulting a woman and a girl verbally or with gestures is not permitted. We also have the 2018 Uganda National Parenting Guideline by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, which stipulates that it is the duty of parents to protect children from discrimination, any form of violence and abuse. We also have the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Act, done in 2019, and specifically numbers 7 and 8. They discourage the broadcasting of the distribution of any information using information communication technologies that may end up facilitating somebody being trafficked. So information of this type can mainly include pornographic material. We have the National Child Policy Implementation Plan, which prevents and protects children from all forms of exploitation and abuse. Last but not least, we have the Anti-Pornography Act 2014, which is supposed to curb pornography that is aimed at harassing women or other victims that include children in this case. However, even if such cases happen in Uganda, women are actually, they are the ones who suffer the most. We have seen certain examples. If somebody posts a woman's nude photos, it is the woman who suffers exposure and humiliation. So this is she's the one who is punished, and it is actually quite sad. So as noted, there is no specific instrument that focuses on cyber violence against women in Uganda. So their implementation is hard. One of the main issues is the lack of awareness on what online violence is, what the protective strategies are, and who the crimes should be reported to. The fear of even the measures that are put in place threaten and reduce maybe competitiveness of some companies, and they threaten the implementation of these policies. Online crimes involve persons from different countries. It is very difficult for countries to have collaboration among each other. Why? They have different levels of technical expertise and resources. We also have cultural environment and expectations which differ, and this makes it hard to establish if an act is considered as a crime or not. Some policies are quite weak when it comes to the repercussions. For example, the 2016 Children's Act only provides 100 currency points as a fine the perpetrator must pay, despite the existence of a cyber unit. The lack of skills and training of government staff on how to deal with online violence is also wanting. Implementation is definitely almost non-existent. So the challenge policymakers have is to ensure there is coordination of action with both public and private actors. This includes the understanding what exploitation is and how best to avoid it. It could also involve integrating public awareness and understanding online-related abuse and protective systems, which is a core aspect that the media can actually work with and help protect such victims. Training the community on digital rights with the help of the government and relevant stakeholders will eventually involve policymakers to strengthen policy and legal frameworks against cyber crimes. It is hoped to encourage the government to enact international laws that will guide on how best to use social media platforms and the internet to develop plans and strategies that protect women and children. This, in turn, will help in making some laws more specific on protection of those facing cyberbullying, online harassment, and others. So in conclusion, although the use of internet is more frequent today, the protection of women and children online is still a very big challenge in Uganda. The fact that there is limited information on the use by women and children, cyberbullying and other forms of exploitation are definitely escalating with the more frequent use of internet. So it is the responsibility of the government, the citizens, the media to protect victims through coordination with even countries worldwide, not just within the community, creating awareness and strengthening and making these laws clear. And this one is also core when the media is helping. So I personally wish to express my gratitude to all of you who have attended, and you are welcome to share your thoughts on how best to help Digital Woman realize her end goal, which is to develop appropriate tools to raise awareness, as well as an effective advocacy strategy for policymakers and law enforcement to tackle identified key issues. So I thank you for attending and listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martha. Those are very, very interesting and insightful findings. And please keep those questions that are burning. We will have our Q&A. And right about now, I would like to also call upon Goreti, who is the co-founder of Digital Woman Uganda. And Goreti is an activist, very passionate about women and girls' rights, and very passionate about the protection of women and girls online. Goreti, you're very welcome. Please, this is your time, and take us through the policy and recommendation session.
Thanks, Harriet. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it perfectly well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. As Harriet has introduced me, I'm Goreti Amriat. I'm a co-founder of Digital Woman Uganda. I'm very passionate about women and girls, especially women in the rural areas who really do not have access. And the girls, by the way. So really, I'm really very passionate about these things. So I'm going to present to you our policy brief. It's a little more detailed. When we came up with our research, we came up with our policy recommendations and policy gaps for policymakers. And I'm happy for the group that we have today, because the media, you are the people who can reach the policy people and any other audience. So we are glad to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll go through the policy brief. And my presentation is basically in 3 areas. It has an introduction. It will look at the policy gaps and implications, then policy recommendations. And as you all know that through computers and smartphones and other online gadgets, women and children are spending more time online than ever before. And especially this time of COVID, this has increased so much, because all of us are at home, we are the children at home, the women at home. So the opportunities also offered by these are limitless: education, marketing, social networking, and many more. But with these opportunities come serious risks. There is cyber stalking, trolling, hate speech, public shaming, doxing, cyberbullying, threats, and intimidation. And of course, with all this done, it has not left out children. Some 80% children in 25 countries report They have felt the danger of abuse, they have experienced the danger of abuse or exploitation online, according to the UNICEF report, Violence Against Children Online. Several governments, we also that they have set up legal frameworks and policies with attached penalties for persons using online platforms irresponsibly and abusively and unfairly. However, these do not explicitly address the challenge that women and children face while using the internet. Uganda has a population of 46.43 million, that was of January 2021, and of these 12.16 million are internet users. The number of internet users have increased by 1.5 million. That is between 2010 and 2021. So our internet penetration right now is standing at 26.2 by January 2021. With increasing users, addressing this kind of violence is critical because the protection of these vulnerable groups has been at a low and real abuses of freedoms are increasing. This kind of intimidation undermines countrywide socioeconomic and political development. The victims tend to shy away from use of the internet, thereby miss out on the opportunities presented by the internet. A healthy internet is private and secure. Women and children too should have the power to decide what information they share and with whom they share to safeguard themselves and their information against attacks. There is no specific instrument focusing on all forms of cyber violence online against women. We see many European Parliament resolutions, though call for the recognition of cyber violence and hate speech online against women and children. These forms of violence are growing. There is need to revise the statutory instrument more regularly. For instance, the General Data Protection Resolution and the e-commerce directive, as well as the directive on victims' rights, trafficking, and exploitation of children online, they cover some, but not all of these forms of violence. We say that everyone must be protected and able to express themselves online. The UN General Assembly resolution on the right to privacy in the digital age of 2026 records that violation and abuses of the right to privacy in the digital age may affect all individuals, including with particular effects on women as well as children, and those who are vulnerable or marginalized, including people with disability. Also, the UN General Assembly resolution on protecting women, human rights defenders, records that information technology-related violation, abuses, discrimination, and violence against women, including women human rights defenders such as online harassment, cyber stalking, violation of privacy, censorship, and the hacking of email accounts, mobile phones, and other electronic devices, with a view to discrediting them and inciting other violations and abuses against them, are a growing concern and can be a manifestation of systemic gender-based discrimination requiring effective responses compliant with human rights. We see Article 8 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights emphasizes that everyone has access to justice, where one has the right to an effective remedy by competent national tribunals of acts violating the fundamental rights granted to him, her, by the Constitution or by law. The issue of justice to the online perpetrators is still questionable. Even in Uganda, online crimes are sophisticated. Yona Okoth Gongo, head of Secretariat Technical Policy, Minister of ICT, has this quote: online crimes are sophisticated. Sometimes the crimes online may involve offenders who perpetrate them in locations thousands of miles away from the victims. It then makes it more challenging for government to follow up more what constitutes a pornographic image of a woman or a child in one country does not imply in another. These are genuine challenges and fear within this industry. Several reports indicate the increase in the crime rates, with women and children being the hardest hit. Uganda, on her part, has tackled online-related sexual exploitation and abuse, with emphasis on building the architecture to protect or rescue women and children through establishing legislations, pursuing and prosecuting abusers, raising awareness, reducing access to harm, and supporting children to recover from abuse or exploitation. These are essential components of a protection response. However, like in other countries, keen steps are not taken to those who destabilize the ability for others to enjoy internet freedoms. In 2006, the government of Uganda initiated a Uganda Internet Governance Forum for purposes of improving data transmission and e-government infrastructure within Uganda for both government and non-government entities. However, as more Ugandans started accessing the internet, the government enacted more laws to govern internet usage and protection of various groups like women and children in Uganda. Although there are no specific laws focusing on fighting violence against women online, the National Action Plan on Women, the Gender Policy Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and the Female Genital Mutilation Act, they all aim to advance women's rights in Uganda. However, they need to be conscientiously enforced and implemented for gender equality and the empowerment of women to be fully realized. The Uganda National Parenting Guidelines 2018 by Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development places the responsibility of protection of children against sexual predators on parents and is silent about the perpetrators. The implication is that the parents has the sole role of controlling when, how, and what the child does on the internet. The Children Act of 2016, Cap 59, as amended, has not come out strongly with punitive action against culprits. They talk about 100 currency points, which only comes 2 million. And this is too low for the perpetrators. Besides, the act has not come out strongly, specifically on online child sexual abuse and exploitation, which is one of the contentious issues to be included in the proposed amendments. So the Uganda National Child Policy of 2020 indicates the increase in online child sexual exploitation, which includes child sexual abuse or exploitation material. But the gravity of online abuse seems to be underlooked even by the new policy that was recently launched by the government that has not come out strongly to speak about the device, despite the numerous reports on the increase of online sexual and harassments. There is a lack of awareness or a discomfort among parents and agents with child protection responsibility about the real nature of hazards or effective protection strategies. Several of the government organs shy away when approached to respond to protection of women and children from online violence. Many persons are not aware of the existence of the policies, thus not reporting any violations. There are several laws in Uganda that severely infringe on internet rights and have been used to either prosecute or intimidate internet users. These laws include the Regulation of Interception of Communication Act, the Computer Misuse Act, the Anti-Pornography Act, the Uganda Communication Act. These laws have been widely criticized for violation of individual rights to privacy on the internet. As a result, most online violations go undisclosed. Victims can end up depressed, humiliated, and even commit suicide if such discard to privacy and protection is ignored. Victims end up being isolated with little or no support and less likely to report to authorities. The disclosure of the abuse may often be underestimated and misunderstood. So, in our policy recommendation, we are saying protecting women and children online is that will hold countries accountable if they do not adhere to the rules and regulation of the framework. This will guide individuals, social media users, the private and public sector to develop plans through which organizations within the country can ensure the strategies are adopted to end violence against women and children. The media can also use such platforms to advocate for the protection of women and children by reporting through their free online channels. There is need for a specific law on tech-related violence against women. This law should trickle down to all countries and they should subscribe to it. Currently, what Uganda has is scattered in various acts and not specific to the more vulnerable gender. This makes reform more tedious and especially to a layman and other gender-positive institutions. By making it a law, it will be exhaustive and referral easier to all persons. To our government of Uganda, we are saying that make sure that the telephone companies register their users attaching copies of their national ID This data should be availed in case of need to identify those who violate the rights of women and children. OTT tax has been scrapped, but the data costs greatly have increased. They should also be reduced to help in monitoring of those who violate rights and thus stopping it through implementation of the laws. Government needs to invest in wide dissemination of laws and policies against cyber crimes for the masses to understand and be protected against online violence. There is need for cooperation between internet providers, not just the regulators, but other stakeholders to prevent and censor online content and limit sexual extortion opportunities, which is in the long run would support safer internet usage. There is need to enact comprehensive law on women and children's online safety to provide a legal framework for protecting them while they are online. This should be mandatory, be rated in school to the teacher and children, their parents inclusive. Strengthening legal and policy frameworks against cyber crimes should also be prioritized. Uganda has good laws, but there is need to strengthen their implementation through the various channels and referral pathways in handling cyber crimes. Ensure that the law enforcement agents are trained to investigate cases of abuse of children online. The prosecutors are trained to successfully prosecute the cases, and the judicial officers are sensitized on the delivery of justice in such cases without causing them more harm. The government should adopt cybercrime legal rights and support services. Preventive measures should also be developed to include the ICT sector to regulate standards to avoid harmful gender stereotyping messages that harm women and children. To civil society and other private sector actors, they should make sure that the policies are easily accessible to the public and implementation clear and fair. They should be in a language easily understood. They should use practical methods to reach up to the grassroots per person. This can be done with support from UCC, mobile telecom companies like MTN, Airtel, Africell, and others. We are saying there should be review of policies. This should be done regularly, and they should get feedback from the people on the loopholes. We are saying that with continuous changing environment, there should be frequent review of policies and seek adjustment appropriately. They need to ensure awareness among both non-state actors and state agencies for literacy campaigns and increase use of tools for anonymization and circumvention. To parents and children, we are saying that parents and teachers should encourage children to pay attention and follow online safety guidelines issued by the parents, other siblings, teachers, and schools. The children should understand that the controls and restrictions are for their good by showing the pitfalls and not regulating their activities online. The Ministry of Education and Sport can make this mandatory in the syllabus for all institutions, both local and international. Parents, teachers, and children should be furnished with information on how to identify an abuse and where to report it in case of an eventuality. They should be taught how to monitor online activity, for instance, using safe view links. And we are saying finally that the internet should be free for all to use peacefully. Each country should have strict policy or policies in case of perpetrators. And for cross-border crimes, the international community should adhere similarly. So these are our recommendations. And we really want this recommendation to go forward to policymakers to have these policies or input into the policies. So thank you so much for this chance to be here. And we look forward to a good, fruitful discussion and also to push our issues forward to have policies which promote safe internet. Thank you.
Wow, that is so powerful, Goretti. Thank you very much to both of you, you and Doctor, for really sharing with us these findings, these recommendations that came through from the report. We want to thank you very much. So this is the moment where we're all wondering. I'm sure when we were, can we please mute those who are not? Tino, help me identify the person who is speaking through so we can mute the person. Thank you. Thank you for muting.
You're welcome.
I was sharing that this is the time where probably when you when you saw this link, something came to your mind. This morning, I woke up to a very interesting text on a WhatsApp group where somebody posted how his 10-year-old was using his phone, his mobile phone. Especially we know now that children are using the phones to do their homework or to learn online. And he did not know how his data was actually running out. So he calls MTN and asks them, please check for me and see what is consuming my internet. And to his surprise, it was the child got a pop on his phone, and this child was actually watching pornography online. So these are some of those circumstances that probably parents don't know. You as a sister, as a mother, as an auntie, you don't even know what is happening in the spaces where our children are. In this space today, we are really working with the journalists. Gority shared an issue around the language. How is the language narrative contributing to online violence? And this is where I want us to pick this conversation from what Gority has shared and what Dr. Martha has shared and what Pino also shared. What could be some of those things that probably have intrigued you, but also what are those of some of those experiences you've gone through that you would like to have shared on the space? So this is the time where we go into the Q&A. You have a question, you have a reflection, you have a recommendation. Please, we welcome you. You can raise your hand, you can write in the chat. And so let's pick up the conversation. You're all welcome. And I can start with anybody who has something to share with us. Anybody with a question? Something to be cleared, a clarity that you'd like to get from either Dr. or Gority or Pino? Pino, you'll help me if because I may not be able to speak. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you so much. It was quite an elaborate presentation. Maybe one thing I noted is that they didn't talk about the Access to Information Act of 2025 that was enacted in 2005. It was enacted in Uganda, but among the laws that are there to protect access to information, I think I didn't hear any mention of it. It was enacted, and the reason I think why this didn't come out is because there's so many people out there. Actually, even in Kampala, even in the city, people don't know that there's this law out there. And this law gives a lot of provisions. It helps you to actually monitor government public projects. And yeah, that's one clarity I wanted to talk about, the Access to Information Act 2005. Thank you so much.
Not get the name. Who shared that?
This is Brenda Nasanga.
Oh, Brenda, thank you very much, Brenda. Thank you for raising that. Please, we can all take note of that, Digital Woman, and anybody who is in the space, because we're all here because we are very passionate about the issue or the topic at hand. Thank you very, very much, Brenda, for that contribution. Anybody else that has something to share with us, or the report, something that you saw that intrigued you, or something that you feel was missing, that you think we can put into the recommendation as well, is surely welcome. As people reflect on what was shared, I would want to ask us, all of us who are here in the space, those of us who are in the area of journalism, how do you think the narrative of language is contributing to violence towards you as journalists? Do you think this is an issue, or do you think this is something that is normal for journalists to experience that challenge? Because language as a narrative came up as an issue that is partly contributing to online abuse, and how do you think this can be addressed? Any journalist can share in their thoughts around that. Hello? Anybody wants to share?
Harriet, I also have a question for the journalists. It's about misinformation. How do they how have they been tackling this misinformation online, especially during this
Pino, we can't hear you very well. Your line is not clear.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Thank you.
My question is around the misinformation, especially by the journalists. How have they been fact-checking this? Because I had a conversation with some of them, quite a number of them, and then they had no clue on how basically to fact-check most of this information in the online spaces before they actually share. So I really want to know how they've been working around that. Thank you.
Anybody wants to take up that question? Those two thoughts we've raised. You can unmute and then we are able to hear you speak, please. Anybody can volunteer and chip in. Please feel free. Please feel free. Hello. Anybody out there wants to share? Silence means a lot. It's all right. Christina Ward, you have a question. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Unmute yourself and ask the question. Christine is asking a question. How do I deal with a situation where I want to report an online media about a child who's a victim of rape and she needs to feature in my story? How do I go about with the images in a way that does not compromise their rights? That's one. Then we have somebody raising a hand. Pino, please help me check for who is raising their hands. We have two participants raising their hands.
Yes, there's Ruth, Tim, and then Shipa Doreen.
Okay, can we have Ruth and then Doreen will come in?
All right, thanks. So just to respond to Christine, you know, children are known to be minors, and it's you cannot, and it's very difficult to seek consent from a minor to have their images published on social media. I mean, on your online media. For us, more so, it's about a rape, you know, a rape story, and this is something that she might read in future with her picture attached. You know, this thing of the digital footprint not being able to. The digital footprint doesn't fade easily. So I would recommend there are apps that people use to blur images. You can take the picture of the kid, yes, but blur their image. Like, don't make it very difficult for someone to identify this particular kid. And instead of using their exact names, always use pseudonyms. You could say, let's say Gloria Achayo, then in bracket, not not real names, sort of to conceal the identity of this kid. And then also don't use their location where they stay, the names of their parents or their guidance, because it makes it easier for an attacker in future, a cyber attacker in future, to trace, and get to the child. Yeah, so you can go ahead, do your story, but just follow those procedures. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. I hope you've been answered, Ruth or Christine, sorry, but still anybody else can share. If you have another comment to that, you're very welcome to share, so we are able to help each other and make sure we protect the children in the spaces we work in, and especially as journalists. There is a hand up, Ruth, please. Ruth, Atim.
Sorry, I just spoke. Let me just lower my hand right now. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So we can have Doreen Achipa. Doreen, please go ahead. A question or feedback?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry I joined in a little late and I didn't have time to introduce myself during the time of introduction. I am Doreen Grace Achipa. I work for QFM 94.3 radio in Lira. I am a journalist. I am a news anchor and a talk show host, as well as a presenter. I want to respond to that question raised by Pino on facts checking, on misinformations. Yes, let me start by agreeing that it has been very, very common, but currently I would say it has kind of reduced because most of the media houses has online managers, apparently, and this issue of misinforming the public has kind of reduced, much as the use of smartphone, the access to internet, which is very easy, has made many people to brand themselves as, I don't know if I should say journalists, or because everyone wants to be the first person to share information. Everyone wants to be the one to break the news and the story. But apparently, whether you're a media person, you have an online manager, and of course, you can't just get an information and post without it passing through the manager and without it being edited. I would say this has brought a lot of improvement, much as it is still happening. And I also wanted to say something on what Martha raised during her presentation, and it was a kind of a question: how best can we help the digital women from this bullying and yes. I think that answer also came from Goretti's presentation when she talked of awareness. I think the most important thing here as media people, because that question was, I would say, directed to the media personalities, so on seeing how best we can help from this digital bullying and abuses. The first important thing, I think, it is awareness that needs to reach the general public. It is not just about accessing the internet. It's not just about being able to afford a smartphone, a laptop, or anything. And then it is not just about posting because you can afford data. A lot of people are using smartphones, these digital gadgets, but they don't really know what it is used for. They don't know what to post. They don't know, they just don't know a lot of things that I think needs a lot of awareness, and then digital guidance on what to post, what not to post, and what to say, this and that, on how to use the smartphones, how to use, because I would say it is very, very common in Lira. It has been very common in Lira, whereby someone just gets any video, any pictures, and then before you know it, the person starts circulating, not knowing that it may cause harm to the other person. So I think more of awareness still needs to come, and then the rest of the things can follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doreen, for that submission. Anybody else has anything burning, something you want to clarify on, or something you want to be shared? There's a hand up. Do I see a hand up? Janet, Lisa, yes, please, Janet. Doreen, you can lower your hand now, so we can have Janet. Janet, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for the amazing work, and I like the fact that your focus was more on children and women, because right now, since the children have been in quarantine, like everything has switched to the digital world, like especially the e-learning and everything. So that gives room for most of the teenagers and kids to access internet and other things without knowing the dangers. My only suggestion would be I would definitely emphasize if maybe like we really shared this report, like let me say televisions or like on the radio stations, whereby some of the parents can listen in and then at least try to pick something or learn something from this amazing report, because most of the parents, they're not familiar with the internet, and they get a challenge because they do not know how to, let me say, put up settings, restrictions of, let me say, you can't access this site, or like you can't access certain sites. So most of the parents do not know how to deal with that. So it would really, really be good if maybe like you really spread the report on the media houses, like on the reports whereby someone from Digital Woman, like they emphasize and also like try to share this information. It would really, really be great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are very, very powerful recommendations coming from each one of you. And I totally agree with you. Goretti, Pino, and Dr. Martha, this is something that should not be kept online. Let's take it out there where people can see, can hear, can listen, and then we see how this adds value to our space and to our advocacy work on protection of women and girls online. I have two hands, Brian first, and then Kasozi will come in second. Let's have Brian. Brian, please. Brian, please go ahead. Brian Kasozi.
Oh, thank you very much. And thanks for the presenters for sharing. I just have one concern. Normally people, for example, on social media or even Google, they will post maybe images about certain people, mostly maybe ladies and young ones. This could have been done ignorantly, maybe they didn't know. So as these people are growing up, these pictures still remain. So you notice that along the way, someone just retrieves it at one point and they post it all over. This is how Brian looked some few years back. So I know how the report could recommend on the, we may not have it in Uganda, or maybe I'm not aware, the right to oblivion. So can we have a right oblivion? Like I can't, is it possible to have my things off in case I don't want people to see them anymore? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian, for that. I will have lastly Kasozi to say something, and then the panelists to say something. And if there is a more hand up there, then we can take that up as well. Yes, Kasozi, your question or your comment?
I'd like to thank each and everyone who has contributed. My submission is about cyberbullying and privacy. because most of these ladies and children, they don't know what to share and at which given time, because most of the time this cyberbullying come as a result of the information you share on social media. Those people use that information to attack you. For example, when it comes to ladies and girls, telling their actual age, it's another bully for them. So when someone tries to share her actual age on social media that to them turning that age, then people start saying, "Yeah, you look older than that face." So it also becomes a bully to them, which may cause harm to them. So, and another thing is, some people, they don't mind about what they share. Some people like to share their personal life in a way that I'm going in for a birthday, I'm going in for this, I'm going in for this. So people may say that you are doing it for fun, but others will say that you don't have time to do this. You are doing this every time. So they start judging you, which in turn becomes a bully to them. So I think there is a need to try to train them on how to share and where, because this social media is always open. They ask you questions that you put in your phone number. Like for the ladies, when you put in your real phone number, gents will disturb you, obviously. They'll just go to your profile, they see the photos of you, they'll get attracted, they start calling you, and you start getting, I'm getting phone calls a day because of social media. So they need to mind about what they say, they share on social media, so that to stop that cyberbullying. That's my submission.
Thank you very much, Kasozi, for that. I throw the ball back to Goriti or Dr. Martha of Pino. If you have something to share in relation to what has been shared, please go ahead.
Harriet, I think I will say something about, I don't know who talked about posting something and they don't want it to be seen. I've forgotten the name, but you know, the internet never forgets. So we always advise people that if you don't want something to be seen, or if at all it will come back in future to haunt you, just don't post it. Though there are other ways that you can use to actually surf the internet safely and privately, but I can assure you the only best way to be safe online, or for you not to get haunted by your posts or your pictures, is not to post them. So I think that is something I just wanted to add on to the participants.
Thank you, Pino, for that. Anybody else, Dr. Martha or Goriti, wants to say something on what has been raised? Goriti or Dr. Martha?
Harriet, I don't have much recommendation for us to share with media houses. Yeah, I think that is another step we have to take forward as a digital woman in Uganda, to ensure that this we shall do as much work with radios and TVs to ensure that this report does not actually stay. Because one of the recommendation, one of the gap which you saw, which I was raising, is that we have so many nice reports, but they are all on shelf. So our strategy really want to see that actually this report go forward and the actions are taken into account. So that's a very good recommendation. Thank you so much for recommending us that we should actually push these issues to the media people. Then there's this one who talked about, I think was Brian, the oblivion, something like that. Yes, we don't have something like that in our report. I think we also take note. Maybe we can put something in the policy brief. In the final one, we can have a recommendation on it. So thank you so much for bringing that. And I also want to thank all of you for all your contributions to enrich our policy brief. Thank you.
We have very limited time. Our time is running out. So unless somebody has something they want to share or thought through, as we were sharing. Anything burning that you want to say? We have very limited time to go. So anybody has something to say? And just to add on as well, remember, we also have the right of expression. So somebody should not be, nobody has the right to tell you how you want to express yourself, because you have the right to express yourself in whichever way you want, and nobody has the right to stop that. Someone has a hand up? Doreen? Doreen, you want to say something again? Your hand is up. Hello, Doreen.
Yes, Harriet.
Yes, please go ahead.
I wanted to add something that even as the journalists are suffering from this digital bullying, a case in point, let me give an example of my small city, Lira. We have these bloggers who owns social media pages, and being journalists, we are also celebrities. A lot of people know you, and tomorrow you'll just wake up, or you wake up to a call or messages. Doreen, first check this page, they've posted about you, without anyone consulting you, asking you. You find your picture, you find a lot of words being said about you. But anyway, because we know and we understand a lot, sometimes we just intend to ignore. So I just wanted to put to your attention that even as the journalists are suffering from this kind of act. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Yes, I think that's why Digital Woman is here, to help us understand this and know where and what referral pathways, for example, do we have in a situation that a female journalist or a female human rights defender is attacked online. And that's where the issue I raised about the narrative of language. How is this narrative contributing a lot towards online violence, especially to the women? Because language is used so much online in a way that it further contributes to online abuse and violation. And maybe that's something we can take with us and see how to unpack that. Because of the time, I would like to just give one chance to somebody if you have really something that you think is very, very important. Otherwise, we are very, very humbled to have you all on this webinar today. And I'm so happy that the North has been well represented. Thank you very much for clicking that link and being a part of this conversation. This is a space that not so many people come to, but the fact that you took your time, your credit to be part of this conversation, we cannot take that for granted. And this calls for our logistical, we have an in-house logistical assignment that is running on our chat room. So Pino has been sharing that. Make sure you've registered with your number, because Digital Woman is an amazing organization that does not only let you be online for free, but they also make sure that you get your internet back. So thank you, Digital Woman, for being amazing and for supporting and embracing us, that we're able, even with our challenges, to have internet. You support us to be online. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for being a part of this conversation. Thank you, Digital Woman, for this research you've done. Thank you, Martha and Goretti, for the work you've really done to open our eyes, to open our ears, and to open our knowledge, enhance our knowledge as well, to understand how online violence is becoming a serious thing that we need to take into consideration as we transition into the digital world. We thank you very, very much, and may you be blessed wherever you are. And we're looking forward to continuing this conversation on all the Digital Woman platforms and also Athena platforms. Please link and join these two amazing organizations wherever you are. Thank you, QFM. We will also follow you up wherever you are, because we've seen a great representation for everybody, every influencer, every journalist, every education specialist. Kasozi, you said you work with the children and you're building their capacity and knowledge in digital skills. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pino, and the entire technical team for making this happen. We are super proud that you've started a journey of bringing the rural communities into the space to understand more about online violence in this digital era. So thank you very much and stay well. A happy weekend ahead of you and God bless you all. From me, Harriet, as your moderator, I'm so excited that I had this chance to share with all of you. Bye and be blessed.
Bye-bye. It's been a pleasure.